The following thoughts and opinions we're going to discuss regarding this album are strictly of our own personal interests. We are not professional music reviewers. We encourage respectful discussion and friendly banter in each episode, but we do not condone and will not tolerate bullying or belligerence. You are welcome to take what we say regarding the albums we rate with a grain of salt.
Boo! Welcome to another episode of the Rate the Record podcast. Did I scare you?
Every other day but today, yes.
Fair enough, yeah, because what effort I put into being scary. Anyways, this is the Rate the Record podcast, episode 55. That's scary. Mirrored numbers.
That's spooky. Just wait till 77. It's going to be the best episode ever.
We will wait and see, because I don't even know what the hell that would be from this far out.
Me neither, but it's God's number.
Anyways, your spooky, scary hosts for the day are Kris and...
Savannah, and I am currently dressed in a tiger onesie. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah, I guess I should acknowledge the audio listeners. I'm wearing some weird bird plague doctor mask thing, and Savannah is wearing what looks to be the skinned version of Tony the Tiger's child.
Yes. So either I'm wearing the skin or the tiger ate me, which is why my face is visible. I have too big of a brain.
Ass first?
Yes.
The last thing that they eat is your face.
Yes, I have absolutely no humorous quip as to why they would have done that.
Thirsty tiger, that's all I'm going to say.
Please let's move on.
Absolutely, we could do that. And if you're watching on the video version, you'll see that we got all, well, I mean, she has a decoration. I have many decorations. Because on the day that this episode comes out, it is actually Halloween, October 31st, 2022. Hello, people in the future.
Ooh, how's the weather?
Ooh, are we still alive in 2023? Please send someone back and let me know. So that way I need to know if I need to edit this episode or not, so I can sincerely use that knowledge.
What's the point?
Precisely. So yes, you are joining us on the Rate the Record podcast today, the Halloween edition, although we're not doing anything Halloween related for the show, but who cares? Welcome to the show. We're glad to have you here as always, so thank you very much for tuning in and hanging out with us, checking out today's music and episode. If you like what you see and or hear today, make sure that you leave a like, subscribe, rate, share, comment, follow. All those things help build the musical community that you know we're trying to build. As always, whether it be spooky, scary, or not, we're always trying to build that musical community, and we want you to be a part of it.
Yeah! Woo!
See, I always leave that part blank just so you have something to say, and then eventually you have like nothing to say.
No, well, it's either that or threats of taking everybody's support and like you know their human bodies and grinding them up and making them mortar, so we can literally build this community brick by brick with members of the community. But I felt that was just a little bit too gross, so I didn't go there. So I just disguised it under explaining what I was gonna say, but I said it anyways.
Can we have a short film of Rate the Record directed by Rob Zombie where that exact scenario happens?
Yes.
There's your happy Halloween right there. The Rate the Record Halloween, where we literally grind up all of our fans so we can make like a panel for a wall and that's it.
Yes.
we can't even do anything else with it.
Yes. But like the spirits will still be in there, so we'll just be hearing just ghostly murmurs all the time. So we'll build
telling
a room.
Us why our reviews are wrong.
Oh my God.
That's truly haunted.
That is ultimate hell for us. Yes.
Yes, but musical community, regardless if we grind you up or not, we appreciate you being here. So, hey, thank you very much. Make sure that you keep doing all those things, especially over on the audio community. Leave high ratings, leave a high review, so that way people like you can find us and we're more seen in the music commentary side of the podcast sphere. And of course, here on YouTube, you know that we want you to hit those like and subscribe buttons and subscribe because we want to give away free records to you. That's right, we want to do it. So once we hit 100 records, 100 subscribers, there you go, we start giving away records, but we have to hit that 100 first. And so make sure you are subscribed so that way you can potentially get free music out of it.
Yeah, and it's one that we have reviewed. First, we are going to do Weezer's Ratitude. And second, I'm going to find a new and better joke because I think I make that one every time.
And I tell you, that one is not on vinyl. I've looked at many different online manufacturers and warehouses. They're wear shops. Ugh.
Well, as long as everybody knows that that is our intention, to make everybody's life worse and then better and then worse and then better again. So.
And yes, you will know which record you get. It's not just going to be a random surprise hello, like at the beginning of every month you'll know. But we'll get into that another time when we are actually explaining the rules to that when that happens. So if you want that to happen, you want to know more of the rules, hit that subscribe button. Easy as that. But my God, we got an actual album to talk about for episode 55 today. An album celebrating an anniversary, although we're technically a little early because it's not till November 3rd, but close enough. Closest without going over, Price is Right type rules.
Yes.
And today, episode 55, we are looking at Rage Against the Machine and the 30th anniversary of their self-titled debut album.
Woo! I'm sorry, I gotta take this goddamn hood off. Ugh. I didn't realize how much emotion I emote from my eyes. So when you can't see them, it just looks like I'm just sitting there doing nothing. Like,
so then that means the audio listeners get 0% of your emotion.
Exactly. Absolutely no laughter, no jubilance, no nothing.
No, it's all just like talking to like a dummy or something like that, like during this ventriloquism things. So it's just one straight face with a moving mouth, and that's it.
Well, I mean, to be fairly honest, most of the times you are talking to a dummy, but I digress. Continue on.
Well, at least you said that, not me. But yeah, Rage Against the Machine, self-titled album, that's the one we're doing today, so it's interesting. Let us know what you think of this album, but before you do that, obviously we got to start talking about it. But before we do that, I'll tell you about the band itself, obviously, before we start discussing songs, because it's just kind of a thing we do here on the show. So it is as follows. Rage Against the Machine is a rap metal / alt metal band based out of Los Angeles, California, although they can be many different genres, like even funk metal too, I guess. They formed in 1991 and still consist of all the original members, those being Zach De La Rocha on vocals, Tom Morello on guitar, Tim Comerford on bass, and Brad Wilk on drums. The band formed after Tom's former band Lockup had split, and one of his former bandmates encouraged him to jam with both De La Rocha and Comerford. Tom Morello got in touch with Brad Wilk, as he had previously and unsuccessfully auditioned for Lockup and Pearl Jam.
Ooh.
So apparently Brad Wilk, he auditioned to be on that debut album 10 from Pearl Jam. So we would have already covered him by now, like 55 episodes ago.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
It wasn't long after that they formed the band and that they would be signed to Epic Records. This would lead to the release of their debut album, which we're looking at now, today. So this self-titled album was released November 3rd, 1992, as I already said. Were you paying attention? You're going to get quizzed later. It was released through Epic Records, obviously. Again, we're quizzing you on this later.
Oh, my Lord.
It was recorded at Sound City in Van Nuys, California. I don't even know how to pronounce that. I think that name's come up, and I think it's come up on the show before, that exact location. Yeah. Regardless, it was recorded there and produced by Garth Richardson and the band members themselves. Lyrically, the album dives deep into themes of politics and revolution and infuses the stylings of... Why the hell did I write I wrote the stylings of meat, rock, funk, and rap, MEET, so not even like the chewy meat. Wow, I was on my game when I wrote this review today. Okay, I think I meant to write metal, but I don't know why I wrote meat. Anyways, stylings of metal, rock, funk, and rap. Yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button, please. The album artwork notably uses a cropped version of the famous photograph shot by Malcolm Brown in 1963, which depicts a Buddhist monk setting himself on fire in protest of how South Vietnamese government treated Buddhists and their religion. So obviously a big backstory to that. We don't really break down lyrics on this show if you didn't know, so not a whole lot we can dive into there, but it's a very well-known photograph, very graphic to look at too, so your discretion, right? Alrighty then. Tool frontman Maynard James Keenan also makes a cameo on this album in the song Know Your Enemy, so that's just a little fun fact to go with too. For the most part, this album peaked in the top 30 of different charts all around the world. Number 45 in the US, 17 in the UK, 12 in Australia, 9 in New Zealand, 8 in France, 5 in the Dutch charts. Those were the best ones of all the charts. Not even in Canada. That's sad enough.
Dang.
But with that being said, though, despite the low chart spots, the album has gone 20-time platinums around the world, including 5 in Australia and Denmark, 3 in the US and the UK, and despite not charting in Canada, it went platinum here anyway.
Interesting.
So there, we gave them something.
Take our money.
Record Collector gave it a 5 out of 5. All Music and Rolling Stone gave it a 4.5 out of 5. So hey, not bad, not bad.
Interesting.
Pitchfork gave it a 9.1 out of 10, and it currently sits at an 87 on Metacritic. The album spawned 4 singles: Killing in the Name of, Bullet in the Head, Bomb Track, and Freedom.
Cool.
I didn't think that they'd close out the album with a single like that, but I guess they did. I also don't know how big of a song Freedom was as a single.
I do mention this in the actual review, but with Rage Against the Machine, I know so many of their songs to hear them, but their song titles, I have no idea what song is what. So when listening to this album, I'm like, oh, I know this song. What is this called? And I didn't know what was a single, what wasn't, because I don't know where I've heard these songs. Did I hear them on I don't know if they'd be on the radio. I guess on the radio.
Some of them will be, yeah.
No idea. But I definitely have heard more than just the singles. So without even knowing.
Yeah, same. Like when I heard some tracks on this album, I was like, oh, that's where this come from. Okay, cool, blah, blah, blah. Like I would consider myself a fan of Rage Against the Machine. I don't know their entire catalog front to back or anything, but the idea is like I've liked pretty much everything I've heard, so hence why I have a shirt. And I have a patch too, but I'm not going to bother digging it out.
I have listened to, before this, I've listened to one of their albums in their entirety. Don't know which one it is. It's one where it says RAGE on the front.
Oh, that could be Renegades. I think that's a cover album.
Maybe. It's the only one I've listened to. And then it's one that has Maggie's Farm on it. And then
it's a cover album. That's a Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. I found that out like months after we did the Bob Dylan one. And then when I heard that version, I was like, hey, I know this. God damn it. God damn it.
Is it a fact that this rap metal act wants to cover my song all day long?
He is fucking following me, I swear to God.
I would have never even brought that up if you didn't, so you're welcome.
Oh my God. Well, that was going to be my story. That holy shit. Yeah, when I heard that, I was just very disappointed.
You can say that he haunts you because, I mean, like, this is a Halloween episode, so haunting, scary. Ooh, Bob Dylan's apparition, his very alive apparition.
No, we're not doing that because you're just going to go, ooh, it's just the ghost of Bob Dylan. And you're going to do that the entire show. No, I'm stopping that right now.
I like your impression of me doing an impression of Bob Dylan. What deep acting, what meta acting right there.
Yeah. I took drama in high school.
I kind of did, but I was better in the 8th grade. Anyways, it's time to start talking about this album right here.
Yes.
Let's jump into it with the first song, one of the singles, Bomb Track.
You first, please.
Sigh. Okay. Realistically, I thought this song had a really good start to it and everything like that. Kind of a cool little quiet riff that builds up into something like a great heavy explosion of sound. No pun intended to the name Bomb Track, but yeah, great start to the album already. But a kind of a blanket statement, slightly spoilerish for the album. Very similar style throughout the entire thing, but it's nice to hear it for the first time.
I definitely agree. I found myself just like jamming to it every time, and the bass drum is very effective. It definitely goes along with the bass guitar, and that's pretty solid for the entire album. It doesn't fight against anything. It just sort of makes that bass, I don't know, hit you in the head that much harder, which I actually kind of liked. And like you said, it's definitely representative of what's to come for sure. And it's a really good album opener.
Well, and really like a statement for the band too, considering it not only is an album opener, but this is your first album. So it's like, this is the song. I mean, aside from the singles released, I don't know the order of the singles that were released. It's possible that Killing the Name was first, but if Bomb Track was first, I could see that too, because it works really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like kind of a blanket statement for the album again too, that what you slightly touched on there is like just the production itself. And the production's very crisp on this album. I really like it. It's kind of like a great job of like just melding everything perfectly, and everything fits really well into the mix. Nothing feels too overwhelming. Nothing feels too quiet. So everything feels like appropriately placed. So they did a really good job with that. Super cool. And I mean, realistically overall, this song has like a really good flow to it. Although again, you'll see this coming up many more times down the album. But I do really like this like heavy, like bluesy metal vibe. Although most metal is based in blues anyway, but a lot of tracks on this album feel funky. But I mean, like this one felt more bluesy, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, and even with like the steady music in behind, just the change in the vocal melody keeps it interesting, which I like.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all the notes I got for this one. It's hard. I don't think I have as many notes this time around for this album as I did for previous ones.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with things that are like kind of hip hop based, although it's like this isn't 100% hip hop based, but like obviously it has a very heavy hand in this album. Not just with the rapping too, like I think with just the style of composition, that repetitive style that kind of goes through the entire song kind of just works like a hip hop track.
Yeah, because you just kind of lay down the foundation and then you do other stuff on top of it,
Yes,
right?
and Zach is very vocally busy, so I mean, just don't do
Mm-hmm.
too much to bury him.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of that.
All right, so song number 2 then, probably one of their more well-known tracks at the very least, Killing in the Name of.
So I didn't dock any points for any of this, but I don't know if it's overexposure, but I definitely feel fatigued of this song just as a grand declaration over and above this review. It's not to say that it's not a good song. It might be why I hear it so often that, it is good. People like it. But, it was in Guitar Hero or Rock Band. You hear it everywhere. Just even going, I guess, viral, hand quotes, on TikTok, just videos of, fuck you, I won't do what you tell. And I'm like, okay, it's a little much. Could you stop? Please, you're ruining this for me. So, but aside from that, I really like the end. Like that's always been my favorite with the clean guitar strumming. It is a nice contrast with everything that's happening during the song and just sort of, I don't know, throws it into a chill gear. And I like that.
Yeah, there's a lot I can kind of agree with in that there, especially just like being fatigued of this song because yes, it's all over like pop culture and everything like that. Yeah, I think it was in Guitar Hero, definitely in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and I'm pretty sure there's like a number of other games that probably appeared in soundtracks and everything. So we're all very aware of it. So, but yeah, I didn't dog point for that either. I just tried to. It's kind of like when I listened to Hotel California. It was just like as sick as I am of the song, I sat down and listened to it as fairly as possible, and just like, hey, it's a good song. I just don't want to listen to it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing with this one too, I guess, is like I do like it, but yeah, I wouldn't choose to listen to this one. It's very iconic, obviously, so everyone already knows what it is. A lot of like fun riff work working into the first verse. I love it. Just like the slow and chunky, heavy feel to the instrumental. So just like it kind of gives you something to kind of quietly groove to a little bit. Although you can feel it building into the chorus, obviously. Although this one doesn't really take off until the end, I think. Although there are moments of it in the song, but I don't think it truly takes off until toward the end. And it's, again, we don't break down lyrics, but it's so interesting how impactful certain lyrics can be when there's so few of them.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of words in this song.
Yeah, and it's fairly repetitive as well, where it's just sort of, yeah, I really don't even have an example other than it's just fairly repetitive.
Well, the only word in the verse or words in the verse are some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses, and that's repeated a bunch of times. And
I could have sworn there was I could have sworn that there was another those who die something justify. I don't know the words, but those are part of it.
You think I would know the words too? I guess I just never really paid attention.
Yep.
Much of a fan am I truly.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there was like this like radio dial style like guitar solo, which is just the kind of the beginning introduction of like Tom Morello's very unique take on like guitar solos. I want to say like not just guitar solo, but like he's obviously like sometimes implements what sounds like a turntable, like scratching a turntable. So he's just doing a whole bunch of different things. I think it's super cool, and I think it's like a good unique thing to add. I mean, like, and as tiresome as sometimes some people might think it is now to hear him do that because it's just like what he's known for, I think it's really cool, like for its time, and also to the fact that people who imitate it nowadays, it's like poorly imitated.
And it's like attributed to Tom Morello, where it's like, oh, you're just copying him. It's like, no, I'm trying to do this. Like, no, you're just copying them.
Yeah. So no matter what you do, you're kind of screwed. And I just mean like, hey, you know what? It's innovative for its time, so I'll give it that much too.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I would not have assumed that this came out in 1992. To me, it sounds like something that maybe would have come out in 90, I don't know, maybe between 95 and 98. Like, I know that's not too far off, but like it still sounds a little ahead of its time because, you kind of get that rap metal sort of combo at the end of the 90s ish.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. Until finding out that it was on this album, I literally thought it was released a lot later. So I mean, for a debut album, this was pretty good. Whoever played the main riff and thought this sounds good, oh, they were totally right. Like as soon as it came out of their fingers, they were just like, okay, yeah, this is a single, this is it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what goes into the decision making of like when you're writing a song and like whether or not it's going to be a single or how long you have to wait to decide like, hey, maybe this should be the single.
Yeah, because like I know sometimes you'll just play a riff and it's like, ooh, this sounds like really good, and then the more you build on it, it's helping it, and you're like, oh, this is fantastic. Instead of playing a riff, then you add to it, going, yeah, that cheapens the original riff, and then you scrap it, and then no one ever hears it, and it's like, oh, that could have, it had so much potential. But when you can actually realize that potential, that's awesome. And I think the main riff for this, no matter how fatigued I am, I think is still pretty killer.
Yeah, but like I'll circle back to what I was saying. Like I wonder how people like are able to choose that, especially like on an album like this, where like songs are structured relatively the same and they don't sound. For the most part, most songs don't sound incredibly different from one another. So like, how do you just like pick and choose like which ones come out? It's like, okay, they all sound the same. Just pull this one out and use it, whatever. Like, I just wonder what that's kind of like.
I honestly thought that Know Your Enemy was a single.
You would think, because I've heard that name before too and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess you're kind of right. Like, how do you choose, and I guess choosing 4 out of 10, you're almost getting 50% of the album as singles, but like, yeah, how do you only narrow it down to a couple?
Hard to say, but this next one definitely wasn't a single though. Number 3, Take the Power Back.
First line, I thought this was a single.
Well, there you go. Proven wrong almost instantly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, even if it's not completely different, I do like the pickup and pacing and the energy in this song. So
yeah.
I tried not to talk so much about what I found so similar from the last songs or anything, because I know I have a bad habit of doing that in the past. So I'm just trying to find things that I like. So that's the first way I'm going to start it. And then I can just say, like, the riffs are good. The chorus is explosive as per usual, but that is a good thing, though, because I do like it. It does give me deja vu, though, so it's hard to know what to say sometimes.
Yeah, I get that. I like this song. I don't know where, but I've definitely heard this song a lot. And so far, 3 songs in, I'm pretty pleased with the album. I feel like this song could be 10 minutes long and I'd still listen to it.
10 minutes?
Yeah. Well, I can listen to it twice.
Fair enough. I don't know about that though, because I don't know if they have the capability of writing a 10-minute song that could just keep me going the entire time.
Probably not.
Because even some of this, like, there's a lot of songs in this album that are like 5+ minutes that don't need to be 5+ minutes. Like, they just kind of drag it for the sake of dragging the time.
I'm really curious to see if we have the same ideas on the same songs, because I'm pretty optimistic that we do.
Hey, we got one last week, but I'm going to go ahead and say none this week just because I still have bad feelings all the time.
I'm going to go ahead and say 1 just for the sake of optimism.
And actually, on that note, got my marker out and a piece of paper in front of me.
All right.
I didn't do this before off camera. I should have done this off camera, but I'm going to write down RATM.
Yep.
And then I'm going to write down a number.
Okay.
And that's what I think that you're going to score the album. And I've been pretty decent the last 2 times. Like, not dead on, but like damn close. Like super, like within 2 points. One of them was like within a point.
Yeah, it's scary to think, wow, he knows me. Ew, gross. Ew.
55 episodes later, you think something's going to happen.
Ew, I need I need to remove myself from society. Somebody knows me.
He's figuring me out slowly.
Scary.
Despite Tom being known for his like kind of out there creative solos, as I already mentioned a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
I do like his regular take on them as well. And I thought this song was really good for it because like it's just a really good clean solo without going overboard on it, and you're not getting those crazy like theatrical type solos that he does. So or even like digital, whatever the hell you want to call them solos. But so I liked what he did on this one. I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, my note definitely is opposite. Solo felt a little weak, and the bars afterward just scream Pearl Jam, which is not the only time I'm going to say that.
This isn't the first time either where you've mentioned the band, and I've also mentioned that they sound like another band, but it's not the same
It's
one.
not the same. Really? Did you mention Pearl Jam at all in this entire review?
I did when I was introducing the band. I don't think I did any more to that though. What I did say though, I'll read this verbatim. Almost fell for the idea we were going to get a really calm ending, but then we got an ending reminiscent of the riff from John the Fisherman by Primus.
Really?
It's like, although John the Fisherman, like it's an ascending riff, this one was a descending riff, but the thing is something about it just kind of brought me to that song. I was like, okay, I can follow you on this one.
Yeah, I say that later in the album, and if you didn't notice or write it down, you got to go back and listen to it because it is just stamped carbon copy.
You're talking about sounding like Pearl Jam?
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess I'll have to maybe do that, but chances are I won't because I'll forget. Even when I'm editing, I'll be like, oh yeah, I have to do that. Then I'll forget while I'm editing.
That's okay. I can't expect too much from you when I provide absolutely nothing. When I say, yes, I will do the thing, I do not do the thing.
I think there was one time when you did the thing, but it was like months later. And I was like, oh yeah, that.
Well, to be fair, I did provide a photo of me with Megadeth for the Megadeth.
Well, because that was like, I need that now or it doesn't go in at all. And you accepted instructions, you followed, and it all worked out. And now you have a picture of you standing with Dave Mustaine live on the internet.
Yeah. This is, oh, fuck. Why did I bring that up?
Scary Halloween snarl.
Why did I bring that up?
I like ghosts and demons. Trick or treat.
I really should know this by now.
Smell my feet on OnlyFans. Okay, song number 4. Settled for nothing. Settled for anything but Dave Mustaine.
So this song definitely screams 1991 to 1996 rock music encapsulated in this song. Just I can't recall if it was the tone, the chord progressions, what it is, but it definitely puts me in that 1 5-year span, which like I'm down for because I really like music that kind of came out around there. I guess what would it be, like rock alternative after grunge sort of faded out. But yeah, I do like how it's kind of slow and more on the quiet side, but still like loud enough that you can't really call it a slow, quiet song, but it kind of brings it down just a couple notches just to bring it back up for the rest of the album.
Yeah, actually, I kind of have notes that mirror that. Surprise, surprise, we're doing that thing again. I did say it was a cool intro, and I like how the instrumentals kind of create this like dreamy but bleak atmosphere over top of the lyrics, so I thought that was really cool. And then, yes, you get another big explosion of the chorus. I think Rage does that all over this album, where it's just like, you kind of got this like mellow kind of something's happening here, something's building kind of verse. And then the chorus is just like, bam, punch. So like they're really good for doing that, and it works really well here too. It's a great contrast between that and the quieter moments, so it's definitely a lot more to appreciate.
The guitar solo is clean. I did feel like it kind of came out of nowhere. A couple bars into it, I kind of forgot how it started, but like every listen, I kind of think like, weird. Like it just sort of, I don't know, to me, it didn't feel like there was any sort of lead into it. It was just sort of there. I don't know how to describe that other than it moderately jarring, I guess. I mean, I still like the song. It's just something I noticed. And I noticed in my headphones a mock sort of siren in the back. and at the end that slowly pans like real slow left to right to left. And every couple listens, like I'll just focus on that. I find that a really nice touch. Like it's a lot of attention to detail because it's not just back and forth quickly. It's methodically done, and I like that.
Your 2 notes there are literally my next 2 notes.
Beautiful.
See, usually it's you having to follow me, but now I'm following you on this one.
Yeah.
I'll start out with the the kind of wailing noise you hear in the background.
Yeah.
It was like this weird mechanical wailing guitar noise. Like, I don't know what it was, and it kind of pans back and forth between the speakers. I think it adds a really good layer of like intensity, but desperation
Yes.
too, because like it's not exactly the most like settling and easy sound to listen to, but it works for what it is. And like I can only imagine the song. I could be wrong. Probably something to do with the prison system of some sort. Didn't read the lyrics. Can't even say whether I'm even close to being right. So if anyone knows that I'm wrong, go ahead and let me know in the comments, as I know you will.
Yeah, like any siren sounds, I definitely would assume that they're representative of something, you know.
Yeah. And then my last note too is just like that. I did like the solo. It was a really pretty sounding solo. It kind of went on, I don't want to say off the rails, but it went from being pretty to like a little unhinged slightly as it was going, but I still like it though. It's a nice like a little anchor point to have this far into the album, so I definitely enjoyed what I heard.
Yeah, I got nothing other than the song makes the hair on my back stand up.
Hair on your back, nice imagery right there.
I really wanted you to say something about it, so I wrote it down. You fell for my trap.
If you wear your shirt and you lift your shirt slightly like this, do you hear like the sound of like bristles?
Yes. Yes. And then when I put it back down, it like repositions my hair and it stabs me in the back.
Does it tug all the hair off your back when you put on a shirt? Like, God, it's pulling my hair.
It actually helps my shirt stay in place because it's like Velcro, like hoop and lock Velcro.
Oh, so you probably have to pick a lot of lint out of your back hair then, or your shirts, I suppose.
No. I employ people to do that for me.
Excellent. Where are we going with this conversation?
I have absolutely no idea.
Speaking of things that you're wearing, every time I slightly look off screen but can still see you, it looks like you're just wearing a tiger cape up with like a plain white shirt. So I'm just like, what a weird costume.
Well, it's funny because you're talking about Dave Mustaine, and I really should have done this earlier. But I am wearing my Megadeth shirt underneath. So
okay.
We all come full circle.
Yeah, you could have been like the Dave Mustaine Superman bursting out of your tiger costume. How badass is that?
Yeah. And I try and do a snarl, and all you'd hear is be like, okay, what is she doing?
He's just like, it's actually me all along, Dave Mustaine. You thought I was a tiger. Well, actually, I am, because I am the alpha male.
And I pull my hair off, and I just have this long ginger wig.
Yeah, you pull a smaller wig off just to have like super long. It's actually, you have Dave Mustaine's hair underneath the hair you have now.
Yeah. And this was never actually my hair. It's just been a wig for 55 episodes solely for that one sight gag. That's it.
All the shit you've been talking about me for 55 episodes, I'm gonna beat your fucking ass. Yeah, I'm trained in jujitsu. He would beat the shit out of me. He is legitimately a trained fighter. He would destroy me, no question. But it'd be a great story. It'd be a fantastic story to tell. I probably would.
My God, yeah, I got nothing. I really got nothing. I don't know where we're going with this.
Makes you want to put a bullet in the head, huh?
Yeah.
There you go. Pun time. Every episode we need at least one. Song number 5, bullet in the head.
Hell. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that wonky bass note. All right, that totally makes the song. Is that like 2 strings plucked at the same time?
Possibly. I'm trying to remember. Like, it's hard to remember one riff over the other of this album.
No, I get that. Well, this one, I really like that.
Cool. I do remember. Yes, he's plucking 2 strings at once. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It sounded great. But as the song went on, it definitely got old. It just kept doing it. It sort of outstayed its welcome. I find the verse much better than the chorus, just in general, nothing specific. I just felt the verse a little bit more, I guess, stronger than the chorus, which kind of sucks when that happens because you think the chorus is going to be this grand, triumphant something, and then when it's not, you're like, oh, aw, like you showed me your hand already. I know what you have. Like, ugh.
Yeah, the song didn't really have a payoff until the second half, I think. Once
Yeah.
again, that kind of happened where they were just building, building, building to finally get to that last bit of the song where just boom, everything went.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a kind of a cool, funky bass line to kind of just move its way smoothly through the track. So you really gotta like that kind of stuff, and I knew you would.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
I actually also like how minimal the verses are too. I think I also probably like them more in the chorus. I like how minimal they can feel, particularly in a track like this, and it works as the song really picks up for the choruses too, so it always kind of gives that feeling of building, and I kind of like that. Although you don't need to do it every single time, which it feels like they do, but at the same time, I'll rarely complain as long as there's a payoff. This one you do have to wait for a payoff, but I don't think we should have to wait 5 minutes, like 4.5 to 5 minutes for it.
I do mention that I liked how it got faster at the end. Somehow it didn't feel like the same song as when it started. And I liked the beginning and the end separately, but together I'm not too sure. Though grand scheme, it is still another banger.
That's why it's a single too.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes like the flow of the songs and like the composition, everything like that isn't so cohesive as you move to one part to the next, and is not necessarily a bad thing. Like obviously it affects the flow of the song and it can throw you off, but as long as each part sounds good, I think that's the bare minimum of what you could ask for. And this is one of those songs where it's like I like each part individually, but as a whole, yeah, I kind of agree that it's just like I think I say something like that for another song on this album too, and likely a few of them, but still like. That is definitely something worth pointing out where it's like, it just sounds like you constructed 3 parts or whatever, threw them together without really thinking how one would transition to the other and how it would like feel listening to it.
Yeah, I've definitely listened to a few prog songs that are like that, where you have these little bits. So you put them into this 20-minute song, but by the time you're at 10 minutes, you're like, I have no idea what song I'm listening to right now. Like, where is this going? Where did I come from? I don't know what's happening anymore. So thank goodness it was only just over 5 minutes, but there were certain points I'm like, where is this going? Oh, this is where it's going. Where did we start?
It reminds me of listening to Echoes by Pink Floyd, where you start by listening to a song and then you're listening to droning and screaming for 10 minutes. So it's just like, you got to remember that you actually came here for a song and not just the psychedelic experience.
Oh, geez. Yep. Yeah.
What an album that is. Actually, that's as old and as short as it is, Metal's probably one of my favorite Pink Floyd albums.
Yeah. I've never heard an entire Pink Floyd album at all, except for Pipers at the Gates of Dawn, which was their very first one, I believe, with Syd Barrett. It's the only one I've actually
so it's
heard.
like way the hell back there.
Yeah, and I think in the 60s. Yeah.
Yeah. The Metal's in the 60s too, like late 60s. That has the song Fearless in it, and Fearless is just amazing songwriting. I love it. Anyways, that's Pink Floyd. We got to talk about Rage Against the Machine. Damn us talking about for prog rock. Number 6. Now I guess we can just kind of move on. Know Your Enemy.
Again, for this, so many of these songs I know, but I never remember the song title. This is definitely one of them. I've totally heard it.
Oh yeah.
It is apparent that they have a sound. Obviously the vocals, dead giveaway. You hear that, you know what you're listening to, but just the song style. I know you had touched upon that, sort of having the same sort of sound. Song sounds different. I like the, I guess, vibe with this, but you really know what you're getting from the get-go listening to this one.
Yeah, although I will say that like that choppy like little guitar bit in the beginning kind of misdirects you for what the song eventually becomes, because that choppy part doesn't really come back at all.
It's like a helicopter.
So yeah, it's just it's weird that was there to introduce the song and then just completely changes like pacing, style, like everything about it is just so different after a while. It becomes like this bouncy metal song. It just makes you feel like you switch songs. And again, just as I was saying previously, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but this one to me was a little off. I don't know. Didn't really, wasn't into the intro, but like the rest, I guess, was okay. And I mean, the verses are pretty fun, but one of the album's most notable change-ups comes when Maynard James Keenan appears in the middle of the song very briefly.
Yeah.
And I'm not super huge on my Tool timeline, but I believe this was before they really blew up. So like Tool was still relatively like small in the scene at this point. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But like, yeah, it was still pretty early in the Tool days, like really early. So it was just nice to hear a young Maynard on the track there. And then you hears like intense scream too. So that was pretty cool.
I liked it.
You can tell like they were trying to make him feel more at home by using a lot more tom drums in his part too. Like they tried to make it sound like a Tool track at that point. I thought that was like funny. I was like, I don't know if they did that on purpose or if they were just trying something new there, but it fits, and I think that's kind of funny.
It totally fits. I said his voice matches very, very well, and I don't know if anyone else's voice there would have had as pleasing of a sound to me. So I didn't even know he was on this track, obviously, until you hear it. And then I'm like, hold on. Then I had to check like the liner notes. And I was like, okay, I like this.
And I think Maynard's even joined them a couple times on stage, like in the earlier days, to specifically do that part. It's possible that they toured together. I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've seen video online with Maynard and his giant fucking mullet. It's just so weird that he used to have a mullet. But yeah, regardless, like he's there on stage doing his like awkward like little pose, like anxiety pose thing, and just singing into the mic. I don't know. He's very weird front man when it comes to his presentation on stage.
Yep. But if you're known for it, then it becomes your thing, and then you never have to change it. So start it from the very beginning.
It must be so jarring to people seeing for the first time though, where they're just like, is he okay? Is he terrified?
Yeah. Well, when I saw him in 2019, I believe, he was like at the back of the stage, like behind the drums, and you see a silhouette and he's singing and everything. I'm like, whatever, float your boat. That's fine. Didn't expect it, but whatever. He obviously came out after a while, but like whatever. That's your thing. Weirdo.
He's got a lot on his mind, I suppose.
Yeah.
But other than like that middle of the track where he actually appears, like to me, the song is one of those pretty standard fare type tracks. It sounds good, but like nothing's really popping out, so I couldn't get into it as much.
I think the highest acclaim I can give it is that it did not bore me at all.
Alrighty then, fair enough. That's technically nicer than what I said, I guess. I don't even know. I think we were both pretty neutral on it, so like there's no like leaning one way or another on that one.
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
Fair enough. Song number 7, we're moving right along here. Wake Up.
Were you getting Led Zeppelin vibes too? Because I definitely was when the song started.
I don't think I got Led Zeppelin vibes out of this.
Ooh, I definitely did, but it was doing less for me than the other songs thus far.
Any particular Zeppelin track? I mean...
Oh, God. If I knew Led Zeppelin songs, it's the same problem.
You know the song, you don't know the title.
If it's not Kashmir or Stairway to Heaven, I have no idea what the song title is. But I'm sure that I'll figure it out, and then you'll just put it up here somewhere. I
will do no such thing.
Yeah, as per usual.
Did you read that part, audio listeners, on the screen? Exactly. I love how the song immediately starts with like dissonance on like that bending guitar riff over the main riff. So I thought that was really cool stuff to start the track. So it was nice that caught my attention right off the bat, as compared to the previous song where it's like not much did. So at least we're kind of back on the same page, more or less, like me in this album. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And at first I wasn't sure how I felt about the choruses, especially with like the guitar with the coarse or phaser effect on it. But like as it went on in how it sounds as like going in and out of the verses, I actually started to find it kind of pleasing. So there's good smooth transitions there between the two, and I actually started liking it more as I was listening to it.
One of my notes just says sounds like filler, so clearly I do not agree. I found it decent once it kind of started to pick up on the tempo, but it shot right back down again almost immediately, and it just went back to sort of a medium pace, I guess. I mean, assuming that's what I meant. But I found the end all right. I feel like there were some bits in the middle that probably were redundant or a little unnecessary. They could have picked, a little from here, a little from there, made it a little bit shorter because this is running a little bit longer. Well,
6
just
minutes,
over
yeah.
6 minutes. And my last note is I noted that the quieter bit around 4 minutes 30 was my favorite. Cannot recall it now, but obviously it was good enough to note.
4 minutes 30. I don't have any timestamps, so I couldn't even tell you if I tried.
Oh. Well, if you're listening to me say this and you're like, "Oh, I need to know," that's when it is. You're welcome. It's public
And then
service.
I'll forget to listen to that too. You give me way too much credit.
That's fine. No, you're not important. Whoever else is listening to me. Yeah.
Fair. Yes. There was another one of those like choppy solos in this one too, as there was in like the previous song. I like what it does for this section, but like, I don't know, let's try something else. And I'm saying that I think I wrote that particular note there with the foresight of what other Rage songs sound like in the future. So I think I wrote that kind of biasly. I could have said something like, I've heard him do the choppy thing so many times it gets a little tiresome, but I don't know. I wrote a little biasly in this one, but it's still true though. I mean, like, try something else. Don't go too crazy with it. But then they did at the end of the track where they had this like really weird mechanical duo noted toned solo, whatever it was. Like, it's hard to know what he's doing with his solos, but yeah, there's something weird going on. So, hey, they tried something else. They listened. So that was nice.
I'm sure that some of these solos are him just throwing a guitar in a clothes dryer and is like, yeah, whatever happens, happens. Let's go for lunch.
Just kind of like rolling marbles across the strings.
Right.
I thought it was a good track overall. It had a lot of power behind it. So this is one of the ones I actually really appreciated.
I don't agree. It is not my favorite. I don't specifically hate it, but I do just want to mention just about, Tom Morello and his solos and just the way he plays guitar and whatnot. Just on this album. Now, again, like you said, I don't know if it's the knowledge of what is to come after this album, but on this album specifically, I don't find that he's doing a lot of that, like, I guess, turntable sort of string scratching. He's not doing as much of it on this album as I thought. Maybe that's just all that I think about when I think about him. So those are the only songs that come to mind. But I was actually pretty like surprised and pleased that there weren't that many on this album, because I literally thought that that's all this was going to be, and I was dreading listening to it, and I'm really, really glad I was wrong.
I don't always hate when he does it. Sometimes it's pretty fitting and everything like that. Oh, you must have hated Guitar Hero 3 then.
I think that was the one I had, so no.
The one where he does like you have to do the battle against him, and it's like just like for the longest time it's just like a scratch solo battle.
Oh hell, I never did that.
It's part of the story mode.
Oh, I never do story modes at all. I do story mode up until the point that they let me do what I want, and then I just do what I want.
Oh, and I mean, that's not really Guitar Hero. If you want to unlock the songs, you got to play them all.
Yeah.
That's how you get through the fire and the flames. That's how you get that far.
I think when I got to that, I just stopped playing. I was like, fuck this. No thanks.
Play it on easy mode, and you're like, I can't do it. It's too hard.
Right? That's it. Medium. That's it. Once I have to use my fourth finger, no thanks. Not into it.
I usually played on hard. I wasn't like one of those pro gamers who could do it all on expert, but like, yeah, every once in a while I jumped into expert and I was like, sure, I'll try through the fire and flames. Not even through the first 20 seconds, I was done.
Like the first 5 notes and 4 of them are wah, wah, wah.
Essentially, because I mean, it's that insanely fast tapping thing for like 30 seconds. And I'm not like a competitive gamer like that, especially for Guitar Hero. So I was just like, it's not clearly this is not meant for me. So I'm just gonna bow out and let other kids smash their guitars in anger because they can't fucking play Dragon Force.
Oh Lord, yep. Yeah.
Nostalgia, huh? Well, anyways, we'll move on because we still have an album to talk about. We're doing that thing again. Number 8, Fistful of Steel. I thought this one had a pretty cool, noisy beginning to it, and I mean, past reviews you've known me to say I kind of like this kind of stuff, so
yeah,
sat well with me. that noise, I was trying to put my finger on what that noise was, though, because I swear to God, I've heard stuff like that before. I wrote that it kind of reminded me of the chopper synth in the song Die Slow by Health, but there could be another track too, but I honestly don't remember. But I like it. That's just my style, because I like things that are annoying. Like you, haha, we're friends.
And I quote, "The siren squealing grates on me, and I could do without that." End quote.
Of course.
I swear to God, the string scratch with the pick sounds like a small dog yipping.
Perhaps so. Does that come later in the song, I guess?
It does. It does, yes.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. And there was some parts I liked, but then I think that if we're agreeing on the same part, I didn't like that part too much.
Yeah, it was too long.
This one was like a slow but kind of heavy, bouncy composition. So like there was that going with it. But then again, that's like a lot of the album. There's a really cool percussive edge to it, though, because like, I mean, it is like a little chuggier too. So I mean, there's chugs in it, so like it definitely helps with that. I think it sounds cool. Listening to the verse, I feel I have this feeling that they really like the Bomb Squad style of production from Public Enemy. I've mentioned this in the past too when we talked about Nine Inch Nails, because I don't know, just the way the verse was set up in this one, I was in like, which is that like whatever noise.
That happens often.
Yeah, like it reminded me of the Bomb Squad again. So just like, I mean, granted, they have influences. Their influence spreads very far, and like that's just apparent, and that's been like that for decades. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case in this one. But the first thought in my head was like Bomb Squad. So I was like, okay, we have another one of these acts who just really likes Public Enemy.
Interesting.
It's I think this was a really innovative way to kind of like integrate that rap and metal sound through Tom Morello's like kind of creative input of it. So I really enjoyed hearing that. But then yeah, there's a turntable style guitar solo that works really well. But then there's that, like, they do it again towards the end of the track, which is just straight up guitar scraping, like pick scraping.
Yeah.
And that got annoying because that kept going and it didn't really do anything to enhance the sound or the song. I was just like, that's just annoying. What are we doing here?
I can agree with that. I don't really have many notes for this one. I find that with songs that I'm like, I'm not really hot on these. I would rather just not say much than just shit on it the entire time. Because like, I can't really shit on this and be like, yeah, this totally sucks, that totally sucks. I just wasn't my thing. I did mention stop with the squealing, so I think that might be where you kind of had your limit there. Yeah, it was okay for me. Didn't really feel like anything to write home about. I find that the chorus adds some more instruments, but doesn't really add much more intensity. It just gets like literally louder. But aside from that, I didn't turn it off, so that's a plus. But I probably wouldn't pick this one to listen to as a standalone track.
See, for the most part, I found this song quite pleasing. I really liked a lot about it, and again, if you could do the Bomb Squad thing and you can actually pull it off, then I'll enjoy that too, because I definitely like that kind of stuff. So I mean, hey, points everywhere, just kind of points deducted at the end there for those whatever.
Yeah,
like stop.
Yeah, it's too much.
All right, we'll just frolic right along here then to number 9, Township Rebellion.
I really liked the first 5 seconds, but then it died. It definitely caught my attention, and by the time I was like, "Oh no, let me out," I was already listening to the song. So, shame on me, I guess. More mock sirens during the verse. I hated that.
Of course it did.
I think I just hated it because I came off the last song and I'm like, why are we doing this again? But I think maybe if this wasn't surrounded by the same thing, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. I don't know.
Maybe, because I actually kind of praise the song for being probably the most experimental they've been so far on this album. And there's been a lot of experimental points, but like, I think this one was it. So I picked up on it immediately.
Yeah.
Obviously the bass tone was weird in the verse. Like it can't just be a bass guitar. Like it sounds like someone's humming with the bass note, and they just kind of combined it into one mix. So you kind of get that weird. Like I don't know what it is, but I did write. This is what I imagine a bass sitar would sound like.
Really?
I'd laugh if that was true, but I don't think that even exists. I was really digging how different this one felt. Hell, there's even cowbell in this song. So
Yes.
look, more to enjoy.
Yeah, I noted that this is 16 songs in one. They definitely sort of grab from here, grab from there, grab from here. I found that some of the background sounds were a little awkward, but I did like the guitar solo, and I really like the drum fills behind it. I don't think I praised or mentioned the drums as much as I actually did enjoy them. They weren't obnoxious and, hey, look what I can do. It's just, hey, this is what the song needs and I'm good at it. So here it is. And I mean, good on you. I liked it.
I'll circle back to one thing you just said, like how it's like, what, 16 songs in one, you said?
Yeah.
I kind of understand where you're coming from with that, especially the contrast between like the verse and the chorus. I thought was really weird to get into. I think they both sound good on their own. I've already said this before. It's kind of like you just take three things, mash them together, but they don't necessarily fit. But you like at each part, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you know, you do a burger and you put like cheese, bun, patty. It's like it's a burger and you like it, but you put it together wrong.
Yeah.
That's my best analogy for it, and I don't know why that was it. But that's kind of like what this song felt like to me. But I didn't dox points for that because I liked everything that I was hearing. So realistically, great song overall. There's great intensity in the last leg of the track too, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, there's a few directions of energy in the song, especially in like what I believe are the choruses, kind of slow everything down a bit, but really overall it was kind of interesting to get through. So my opinion just kept improving every time I listened to this track, and I listened to it like I want to say 4 or 5 times. So yeah, I have a good opinion about it.
You definitely have me stuck on the idea of a wrongly put together burger, because I'm just imagining bottom bun, cheese, lettuce, and then the patty. And I'm like, oh God, that hurts. But going back to the song, I did write, oh, someone's hulking up with that scream build. Oh, okay. So there's no payoff yet. Because he's like, "Ugh," and then just that's it. There's nothing. But then later on, they're screaming, which is good. I'm glad that I finally got it. It's just the delayed gratification. Just, I don't know if I like that too much. I felt that the end sort of dragged, but I did add an extra point because I did like the first 5 seconds of the song. That
You
intro,
got an extra point. That's good by me.
Yeah, the intro, I liked it. It was good.
I guess with that we can kind of just transition to the next song, because something you said is actually point in my next one. So song number 10, Freedom. So I'll just jump in here. You mentioned Zach De La Rocha screaming, and like he does it all over the album, but my note exactly is, I wish I kept count of the amount of times Zach just randomly screams. You can make a drinking game out of it, where he's just like he just goes like Super Saiyan, like so many times at random points in the album. Like literally take a shot every time you hear it.
Oh my God, you'd be so wasted by the time that song came.
Yeah, more than like 2/3 of the way through my bottle of whiskey, and just like, I need to lay down and not drink for a month.
And I did mention, oh, there's the screaming payoff, and that it works well with the guitar doing scales. It feels like it's going faster and faster, and it's really like, I don't know, it's amping you up. And it's like, how the fuck is this the last song of the album? Like, it's really getting you in there. But I really liked it.
Yeah, it really it gets your blood going too, because I mean, like it essentially ends with him just screaming freedom, which is, I mean, like not to go on Mel Gibson on it, but I mean, like with Braveheart, but I mean, like you a lot of people can get behind the sentiment of just like wanting to be free. So I mean, when you're aggressively screaming freedom with these intense riffs behind you, like, yeah, there's your adrenaline just like literally radiating into the fucking universe.
Right. Now, I do want to mention, and I am so surprised if you did not write this down. So I think it happens about 2 or 3 times. This is literally the even flow riff.
Really?
From Pearl Jam. Oh, yeah. Oh hell yeah! You listen to that song again. It just sounds like you like Even Flow's main riff.
I guess I just wasn't like listening that intently then that I would notice that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do that. It definitely
put that
sounds
on my list of things to forget.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's fine because I will send you a video comparing both of them. I did find, well, I guess verbatim, the majestic solo afterward is majestic. So I liked the solo apparently. That was good. A plus.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad, I suppose. I didn't write anything about it. I'm just trying to remember it, which I don't remember disliking it, so I guess I can agree with you.
Yeah.
Realistically, when the song started, like the intro made me sigh right away because I was like, it's sad that the album's ending on such a familiar style, like, and it just it sounds like it could land anywhere on the album aside from just being like the last track.
Yeah.
But the verse is cool though. I do like the guitar work and the softer percussion, so that's always cool. But I don't know. I was expecting too much for the last track on the album, although I wouldn't know what to expect either, especially on a debut album.
Yeah.
But yeah, the song has like a constant state of like rising and falling. Like, and as a last track, it makes it feel weird that way because I mean, like, as a last track, you either want to just go out completely quiet or you want to like explode, which I mean, it kind of did with this one, but I mean, like, the entire song is just, it kind of picks up a bit, then it will go back down, picks up a little bit, goes back down. So I don't know. This didn't really feel like a good end track to me, although with him yelling freedom at the end and they have this like broken, noisy ending. If not for those two things, this would not feel like an ender at all, but those things did help it. Yeah. So at the very least, I'll give it points for that.
I can agree. And the end of the song sounded like dial-up internet. And yeah, that was an observation. Absolutely no effect on the score whatsoever.
And at the end too, like I thought I heard them like destroying the drums for a minute there, because you hear like these like distant noises, and then you hear them constantly, like not constantly, but like occasionally hitting the cymbals.
Yeah,
and just but like then it sounds like something
kicking them over.
Yeah, being kicked over, like falling over or something. I don't know if that's the case at all, but it'd be fitting because it's the last song, and it sounded all kind of broken and dissonant at the end. So that's cool.
Free me from the shackles of EMI. And they destroy all of the studio provided instruments when they finish their song.
But they weren't with EMI, they were with Epic Records.
Fine, Epic. I don't know. Started with an E. I wasn't listening to you at the beginning anyways.
Also fair, because that's just kind of usual.
But that's all I got for that one.
I see this is the week where you bully me more than I bully you.
Damn right. I am a tiger. I will eat you alive.
You're the alpha male.
Why do you constantly wait for me to take a sip and then you do stuff like that? Like I'm literally going to choke on camera one day and die.
And that's when I just sit here and do this, like, yay, hurrah, hurrah.
like Diddy Kong.
Yeah, and then I toss my red cap in the air and do like a little bit of a backflip. Or then I'll do the DK thing where I pick up the jukebox and then just like put on my sunglasses. Like I'll just do that.
That is the best Super Nintendo game ever. Anyone who did okay, it's on par with a couple others, but it's still the best.
I don't know.
You know what? There you go. Another an extra episode. We debate Super Nintendo games.
Ooh, that's on Kofi.com/rate the record. Ooh.
I have some strong opinions.
I might have a few. I was more of a Sega kid growing up, though. There's my opinion. Fuck Super Nintendo.
I've never played Sega.
You missed out on some treasures. But anyways, that's then. This is now. We have to wrap up this album because we are at the end of Rage Against the Machine's self-titled album. So, hey, thank you very much for making it this far with us and checking out the album if you indeed did. So if you did, make sure you let us know what you think of the album down in the comments of wherever you may be listening, because there's comment sections everywhere. Or you can let us know on our socials too, at Rate the Record Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And that can all be found at ratetherecord.ca. So yes, make sure you let us know what you thought of Rage Against the Machine or what you still currently think of Rage Against the Machine.
Now, after hearing what you thought about Rage Against the Machine, can I change how many I think we're going to match?
Is it this much?
It is 0 now. It was 1. It is now 0. I don't have a lot of faith now.
I have 3 check mark. Sorry, not check mark. Question marks. I always say check marks and like get people going, but no, it's question mark. I have 3 question marks out of 10,
Yeah.
and all the rest are X's.
Woo! Okay. All right. Well,
I already said 0 beforehand, though, so I mean that's just kind of the way I'm going into this.
Yeah. I'm a lot less optimistic than when we started. Educated now.
This show destroys optimism, and I'll be proud to say that and take it with me to the very last episode, whenever that may be.
Yeah, and I only have optimism for an hour before I start this, and it dies immediately after we're done. So,
yes, as long as you've lost faith in humanity because Rate the Record, then I've done my job. I don't know about you.
Yep.
Well, anyways, as you're letting us know, you can let us know even more because we still have things to do, like ranking songs now, as we're just kind of hinting at, part 2 out of 3 of the podcast. So I guess we'll just jump into that. Above our heads, boom, graphics have changed. There are names. There are numbers. There's going to be more names, those specifically song titles, because now it is time to see how we think of this album. 10 songs.
We rate the record.
We don't pay him. Get him the fuck off the screen now.
Damn it. I was trying to knock him on the floor. All right.
Get off Getty. Don't get off Getty. I mean, don't do that. Anyways, there's 20 songs all together on both sides combined, but 10 songs on this album. So we got to rate it 10-1 what we think of this album. And we both seem very optimistic of a 0.
Yes.
I'm trying to stay positive, so I'll say optimistic for a 0.
Yep.
And then we can celebrate being correct.
You first, please. Just rip the Band-Aid off, please.
As I always do. So song number 10, Know Your Enemy.
Fistful of Steel. It gave me tetanus.
Yeah, depending on how old that steel is, and you don't know where that's been.
Mm-hmm.
Song number 9, Take Back the Power.
Wake Up. I feel like we're gonna have flipped lists or something stupid.
Well, I can't say anything yet. We're almost there though. Number 8, Killing in the Name of.
Township Rebellion.
I once lived in a township too. Oh, look, his ghost came back. Bobby, where are you, buddy?
Oh my god, I would rather be dead. No,
with
then
Bob Dylan in the afterlife.
Yeah, hell no. Ugh.
I'll spend the eternity singing you my catalog forever and ever and ever and ever.
What's your number 7?
Freedom!
Oh my god, so is mine.
We actually gotta imagine it's the one I could scream.
That is fantastic.
If there was no one home, I would have screamed that louder, but I'm respectful of people upstairs right now.
And then all you're going to hear are just audio.
Well, yeah, it'd be like you on Zoom where it just when you make noise, it just cuts out. And mine's just Freedom!
And that's it. Yeah. Oh, Christ.
All right, well, we got one. Cool. Let's see if we can get another one. Why not, right? Number 6, Bomb Track.
Bullet in the Head.
Well, it's a B word at the very least.
It does.
Oh, well, my number 5, Bullet in the Head.
Well, mine's Killing in the Name.
Whatever. Number 4, Wake Up.
Know Your Enemy.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
Enemy.
Yeah. I don't think we can match anymore, maybe.
One more we can match, but I have a feeling that we won't. Song number 3, Settle for Nothing.
Bomb Track, yes.
Okay, yeah. Whatever, we got one.
We did get the one.
Hey, that's 2 weeks in a row. We actually have a streak. We can say we actually have a streak of matches now.
You know, I really should have stood by my first choice and not completely backtracked. You know what? I just take off everything. I think we're going to have one match.
Yeah. No, I'm actually going to erase that part right there.
Good
we're
job.
Back in now.
Good job, me.
Okay, number 2, Fistful of Steel.
Take the power back.
Take the power. And my number 1 is Township Rebellion.
I settle for nothing less than number 1.
Okay. Good to see that you like that track, though. I was wondering what you would think about that one.
I'm very surprised that I guess my top 2 are singles. So I felt very proud of myself for actually enjoying something that wasn't spoon-fed to me on the radio.
Yes, I also didn't take the singles, too. I got a Fistful of Steel and a Township Rebellion. Sounds like I'm literally about to take over.
Hell yeah. I love it.
Like I always take over this podcast. Just like I do. Anyways, speaking of taking on the podcast, I can shut up Savannah right now so I can go transition screens to go rate the record. So let's do that. No, you already cut out your audio. That's fine. And we're going over now. Okay, then we are at the album rating screen, and if you would just so notice that the B tier is 100% occupied now. Oh my god, I can't fit anything else unless.
I bet you this one is going to be a B plus because I don't know. I don't want to guess what you rated this independently, but I feel like I may have rated it higher than you did. So it's gonna be your fault, regardless.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's to hoping for something new and exciting. We do have to rate the record, and if by chance it is a B tier album, you're gonna see the graphics change, and I will have made the decision in editing of what to make the graphic chart look like now, because I don't know what to do. We're full, like the B tier is full.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just keep shrinking things down further and further and further.
Just make a new row in the middle where you just put them in between and then just start layering them, start covering up the ones underneath because they don't matter anymore.
Yeah, maybe so. I just buried some of the ones from prior. Just delete them off the list, and by chance, like the bottom one gets to come back up because one's lower than that. It's just like, okay, you get back on the list then.
Exactly.
Alrighty then. Well, I'll go first, I suppose.
Yeah.
Keeping tradition with the B tier here. Yeah, I mean, I rated the album pretty well, but I mean, what can you do? B plus tier album. I rated it with an even 78%.
Wait, hold on. Let me do math. So even 78. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Okay, well, without any prefacing, it's 81.3 for me. So I'm pretty sure that's 79 point something, which still keeps it in the B tier. Now, I'm not a math person, but I feel like I might be a math person right now.
I'm behind the scenes that no one can see. I'm actually trying to adjust my skeleton because it just fell over, so that's pretty sad. All right, so mine was 78, yours was 81.3.
Yes, it was.
81.3. That's your thing, divided by 2. The score, it's 70. It is 79.65.
I fucking knew it.
plus tier. Oh my goodness.
Fucking dumb.
Oh, and by the way, I was way off this time. I said 71.2 for you.
Dang. Well, it's 81.3. So I mean, you're close in idea.
10 points off. So that's not all that impressive.
So this one is snuggling in above Tomahawk.
So that's the top of the B?
Yeah. Above Tomahawk, and Frank Zappa had an even 80, so it's right under that.
Well, okay. I mean, that's something, I guess, but oh god.
It's your fault. I called this. It's all you. So you have to film a formal apology to everyone you let down. Me.
I'll get around to that. I'll put that on my list of things to forget. You've given me 4 things in this episode to forget. So
God.
It's going to take me a long time to remember to forget those.
I've never been more hypocritical than right now demanding things from you.
Boo! B tier. That's what. Boo for the B tier or boo to scare you. Regardless, boo is relevant.
Boo.
But man, if that one didn't come close to not being a B tier album. But hey, glad we didn't disappoint you with the streak of bullshit we're doing.
Oh my God. Honestly, if you're still here, and I know I say this multiple shows, thank you for still being here. I wonder why, but yeah, please, if you have any requests for albums that you think aren't going to be B tiers, like A tier, please let us know. We are in a drought. Please.
So it seems, but we still have more albums coming up for season 3. We still got 7 more episodes after this, so something's gotta give here. Okay?
Oh my God, I swear it better.
It's hard to say. I have some high hopes for a couple of the albums coming up, so we will see. Oh, what's the matter, buddy? Getting shy? My skeleton's hand is going down here.
Well,
he's getting a little shy. Anyways, that means we're at the end of our episode. My little boy needs to go to bed now. So, hey, you know what? Thank you very much for joining us on today's very spooky episode of Rate the Record podcast. If you like what you've seen today and you enjoyed B tier albums, make sure you hit like, subscribe, comment, rate, share, follow. Help us build our musical community. That's what we're always trying to do. Even if we just give the same ratings all the damn time, we still want you to be...
Yes.
And let us know what you thought of today's album too. Once again, as I said before, over on our socials, Rate the Record Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all found on ratetherecord.ca. Comment section below of wherever you might be listening, audio, video, doesn't matter. There is something there where you can leave reviews too. So by all means, let us know over there. And of course, if you like us enough that you keep loving these B-tier albums, you can always go ahead and financially support the show. Imagine that was an option. It is Ko-fi.com/ratetherecord, where you can be a part of the RTR Club. I don't think I said this in the beginning, so I got to run it by real quick now. Yeah, you can be part of the RTR Club. We give you a shout out. You will have your name on the screen at the end of the episode. Bonus content, exclusive content, which we already have stuff up there now, and more will go up, like our debate on Super Nintendo games, apparently. And of course, if you have a song, like you're in a band and you want us to check it out and give it a B tier, then by all means, we will. So you can send it to us through the RTR Club.
Yeah, do it.
And what's that website again, Savannah?
Ratetherecord.ca.
What was the Ko-fi website though, Savannah?
Ko-fi.com/ratetherecord.
Found at
ratetherecord.ca.
There you go. Now we're on the same page.
Hey, that was just my audition tape for my musical, Savannah the musical. So you're welcome, everyone.
What a dreary show that would be. But yes, we're at the end of the episode. So once again, thank you for hanging out with us. But before we let you go, we do like to give you like a little sneak preview of what's happening next week, because obviously there are 7 more episodes in season 3. So make sure you're tuning in and following along. And I will say though, Savannah's going to let us know what the album is, but it is not an anniversary album. That was today. It's a request album.
Woo.
Next week. We got another request, and so we're going to be doing it for you.
And this artist left the music business after 11 years and came back just shy of a decade later under a new name.
They sure did, didn't they?
And it's not Ted Nugent.
Yeah, it's not his alter ego, Dead Tugent.
Why I thought that was so funny. I'm sorry.
Did he actually do that?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. Well, like if I was him, I would go into hiding because he writes a song about wanting to fuck a 13-year-old girl. So
Really?
I mean, like,
oh God, ew.
the song "Jailbait." You never read the lyrics to "Jailbait."
No, thank
and
you.
And also, just the name "Jailbait"
title
alone. Yes, I mean,
yeah.
But it's very much like a girl who's 13. I want to bone you. I don't care what your parents think.
No,
Yucky.
I'm okay. No, I'm okay. Thank you. Ooh.
Anyways, that's enough about that gross pedophile.
Yes, please.
Once again, thank you very much for joining us today, and let us know what you thought of the album. Come back next week so that way you can listen to more awesome music. But until then, go listen to some awesome music like Rage Against the Machine's self-titled album, and we'll see you again real soon. So take care, friends.
Goodbye.
Boo!